What's up, nerds? So I'm coming at you with this like so late, and I'm really sorry, you guys. I promise I'm gonna try to stay on top of it. I might make a video of why I'm doing these late and everything. I'm just sorry, you know. I've got a lot of stuff going on in my personal life that I have to deal with. It's like not an option. These videos take a back seat to that stuff. I hope you understand. If you don't and you bail, I get it. I get it. I have a bunch of videos that I've either recorded and they're in the pipeline and I just have to edit them and I just don't have time and everything. But let's talk about Daredevil Born Again, episode 4. All right. Now, this episode, I liked this episode. There wasn't, action or whatnot, but that last scene with Frank Castle, the Punisher, and Daredevil, Matt Murdock, man, you guys, that tugged at my heartstrings. I don't know about you guys, and I want to talk about it because, like, there was one time I teared up. I was just like, I'm just thinking about the line that Frank Castle says, and we'll talk about that. And then there was something also at the end that happened that I was like, I knew it, I knew it. Which we'll get to that. Just, I know you know what I'm talking about. And then I do want to talk about the next vigilante bad guy and everything. So let's get to this breakdown and everything, because I'm so far behind that I don't want to take up too much of your time. So let me get to this breakdown and I'll tell you my thoughts during this, and then I'll tell you my whole like thoughts about that whole episode at the end. All right, here we go. So after confirming his death, Murdoch promises Elia's niece, Angela Del Toro, that he will bring his killer to justice. So we get this scene at the morgue, right? And he goes in there and he's talking to the mortician. Is that their title? I don't know. Anyways, he's talking to this dude, right? And the guy's like, he's dead. He's dead and everything. Because before, maybe like he didn't die because of the medallion, which the amulet in the comic books, if I remember correctly, because I haven't read comics, the amulet gives him powers. Like it gives him like stealth, like not stealth, like kind of like agility and stuff. The white tiger, and which I wish we would have saw that. Like I said in my last episode, I wish we would have saw more of that, white tiger fighting, like in cool style. I don't know. Anyways, so I liked, so he tells him he's dead, right? And they're like, did they recover the shell casing? And he's like, no. And I want to talk about that when we get to it, the Daredevil's powers when we get to it. But he's like, did they find the shell casing? And he's like, no, they didn't find the shell casing. It wasn't in his body. And that's all. I don't deal with the crime scene. I just deal with the body. And then the niece walks in. And she's all like, what good was it that you got him off, because it just got him killed and everything. And I'm just like, what did you, sweetie? Come on. What he I felt like she was blaming Matt Murdock, and I'm like, stop it. He did the best he could, yo. And she was just, being a dick. And if she is supposed to be the new White Tiger, she's very young. Like, I know they're talking about doing the Young Avengers, and there was some concept art released of the Young Avengers team. She was not on it, White Tiger, but she's very young for the Young Avengers, which I'm not excited for because I never liked those comic books. But moving on, let's go on to the next part of this, and then we'll chit chat about all this other stuff. Anyways, so at the marriage counseling, right, Fisk and Vanessa, they are discussing her affair with Adam. And afterward, Glenn privately asks Vanessa if she feels safe around Fisk. So they're in marriage counseling, right? And they're just talking, they're talking about Adam. And she asks what drew her to Adam. She's like, his hands were so good. They were the best hands ever. I'm doing the worst accent ever, but and everything, because she was drawn. I'm assuming he was an artist. I have no idea what's going on with Adam. And Fisk, and she says forgiveness is the best way of, oh God, what was the line? Shoot, I forgot, you guys. I'm sorry. Okay, she says forgiveness isn't just the highest act of love. It is the only way to move forward. And I thought, maybe that's true. But I'm like, this is the thing. Vanessa did a no. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, maybe I can understand, I guess, maybe not really though. Maybe if it was just a one-time thing, we all have these animal instincts, and sometimes we give in to our base instincts. And maybe that's what happened. And maybe it was just a one-time thing. Maybe he Fisk can forgive her, which he says he has, but we all know he's lying. But then she can't, obviously it sounds like she had it going on for a long time. And so she knew what she was doing. And I mean, I don't know. And then when what's her face, the psychiatrist, she pulls her aside, Glenn, when she pulls her aside and she's like, "Do you feel safe?" And she's like, "Do you think he's going to hurt me?" Of course I feel safe. And I'm all like, "Vanessa, I don't know if you should feel safe or not. I mean, I don't know if Fisk would kill her or not, but I just go, um, I mean, maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. I don't know. Well, we'll see. Maybe he'll just, choke her out and be all like, "You cheated on me," and everything. I got shot in the face, kind of thing. But yeah, okay. So Fisk's attempt to improve the ports face a number of hurdles in the city, right, including government procedures, rival gangs, and his protege Daniel Blake drunkenly leaking confidential information to BB, which leads her to out Fisk as a union buster. So he is going to try to clean up the docks at Red Hook, right? But Blake, right? This Tony Soprano's kid, he gets drunk, right? Because he's trying to fuck this girl. And I'm all like, and after this, I'd be like, I don't want nothing to do with you. Because you're not interested, you're just trying to get a story. But he drunkenly tells her about Fisk's plan to get the docks going and everything. And listen, I didn't think it was a bad idea, Fisk's little plan or whatnot. I mean, obviously we don't know the full details, but I'm all like, if Fisk is trying to turn a new leaf and trying not to be like criminal, and then like this bitch is just ruining that by scooping him. It's like, get out of the way and everything. And I'm just like, stop giving her interviews and try to bring her down, I guess. I don't know. So then later on, Daniel does, I was going to talk about it later, but I'm going to talk about it now. Daniel does tell, what's his face, Fisk, that he was the leak, right? So then despite his initial anger, right, Fisk decides not to fire Blake after witnessing his loyalty. So Blake is like, and I think that Fisk was surprised by this. Like, you can see it on his face. Like, he didn't realize that he had just this overwhelmingly blind loyalty. And he's like, even if he's like, you can fire me, but if you do, I will still be by your side. I'm still loyal to you. I believe in your cause. I believe you're the best thing for this city, and I will stand by. I will back you. And I think that it's always good to have people loyal to you, but blind loyalty, I'm like, what if I'm like, you can still disagree with some stuff that Fisk does. I'm like, you can be on his side and still disagree, and still not like some of the things he does or whatnot. You don't have to agree with everything and go with it. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, Fisk didn't fire him, but I did like how he threatened him. He's like, "You ever do that again, it'll be the last thing you do." I'm like, it will be the last thing you do, Blake. Like, it will be the last thing he does. Like, no joke. He will Tony Soprano you. Like, no joke. Too soon. But so anyway, Murdoch, he investigates the site where Elia was killed and finds a bullet casing with Castle's symbol on it. Now, this is the part that I want to talk to you guys about. I don't think a lot of people that are normies, like my wife asks me so many questions during this show because she didn't watch the Netflix show. So she's all like, "Wait, what happened here?" And I have to explain what happened on the Netflix show. And she's like, "Well, why don't they just do that?" And I'm all like, "Sweet pea." I'm like, "Baby, I don't know." I don't know. Disney's all fucked up. But okay, they don't explain to people that haven't watched the Netflix show and don't read comic books what Daredevil's powers are, okay? Because Daredevil, like, he's not my daughter, even, because I was watching the episode 3, and my daughter was in the room because I was like, well, and so far nothing has happened or happened in that episode that I needed to shield her eyes from, except for that final scene. Thank God she wasn't in the room. But she asked me if Matt, she's like, "Is Matt Murdock a mind reader?" And I'm like, "No, he's not." And they're not explaining this very well. They need to explain his power set inside the universe, because it does look weird when he's just roaming and he can just like he's just like, "I found the bullet case," and I'm like it's like women with smelling. You ever notice women? And I'll tell you, just like my wife, like she'll just be like, "Do you smell that?" And I'll be like, No, I don't smell anything. She'll be like, and she'll be like roaming the and she'll like lift up the couch and be like, it's a Cheeto. I found it. It was the Cheeto. It was the Cheeto. I was like, you have canine senses, like, or smelling at least. Like, so I think that like he's got like canine smelling because he just smelled that bullet, you know? I'm like, they need to explain his powers just a little bit more and everything. So, anyways, he tracks down and interrogates Frank Castle, who believes it came from a police officer before he calls out Murdoch for not killing Dex, aka Bullseye, and retiring as Daredevil. So I want to talk about this whole scene because he did say it was a sycophant, with the Punisher symbols that the cops wear. And then I also want to so he calls him out for not killing Bullseye. And he's all like, for killing Foggy. And he's like, what was his name? And he's like, say his name, coward. And then later on, he yells out, he got life. And I was like, oh my gosh. This part, like, I was just like, it tugged at the heartstrings because you can see, and kudos to what's his face, the actor, for both these two actors. I never thought John Barenthal was a good actor, but I'm changing my mind. But he's all like, he got life. And then he's like, did Foggy get life? And I was like, touche, Frank. And I'm just like, and he's like, he goes, and you can see on his face the torment and the guilt that he, and they said it, he got a guilty verdict. Because of the guilt that he feels inside for letting Foggy die, but wasn't his fault, but he couldn't save Foggy. And I'm just saying right now, I see rumors online, people saying that Foggy's not dead. If Foggy, because they faked his death or whatever, if Foggy is not dead and they faked it, this scene is for naught. It's worthless. But then when Frank, when he says, I hear my son's voice saying, get him, daddy, every time, I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, ooh, whoever wrote this episode, kudos to you, my dude, or dudette. It was probably a dude. But because you just like, you got me, because as a father, like, you just like I hear my kids all the time when they're not there. I'm just like, and it's the best. Yeah. Have kids. If you don't have kids, if you can have kids, They are the best thing on the planet. I promise you, you won't be sorry. And fuck the money. The money's, you don't need that money. Do it to provide for them. Anyways, but this scene was really, it's my favorite scene in the entire show so far. It was really good. It was emotional. It really showed the humanity of it. How Frank is like, no, there's no forgiveness. There's no life in prison. It's death. It's eye for an eye. And that's the thing I like about Punisher, which I don't, they're supposed to do a movie project or a show. I can't remember what it was. And I don't think they're going to do it right over at Marvel because it needs to be R and it needs to be, shoot 'em up kind of thing. But Frank just, going hammer on those motherfuckers. But this was so good. It was really, really, really good. And I really, this is my favorite scene, like I said before. So anyways, later on that night, Murdoch practices with his billy clubs as Fisk visits an imprisoned Adam. Daredevil gets home and he bangs that psychiatrist. He gives her the old in, out, which I just have to say right now, the chick playing the psychiatrist, I don't think she's like the best actress. She's fine, but she's not the best actress. You know what I'm saying? And then, so he smashes her and then he goes up on the roof and he's all like with his billy clubs. So I'm like, yeah, and we got to see the masks. And apparently in the next episode 5 is when he puts on the mask again. And so that'll be fun to see, But then Fisk, he goes down into this little like dungeon and he's eating his, I don't know what the cheat meal, which was like the sausage and peppers, which I thought it looked delicious. I would have ate the shit out of that with that wine and everything. It looked delicious. But the only entertainment he had was Adam in a cage in a little prison cell. And he's like, Mr. Fisk, please, and everything. Let me out and everything. And I'm all like, oh, you knew. Fisk did not forgive her. And if he did, he's taking it out on Adam, which I don't blame him. You know what I'm saying? Although at the same time, it's just as much as Vanessa's fault as it is Adam's. But I'm all like, I'm all like, Vanessa, he said he wouldn't kill him, but he didn't say he wouldn't put him in a jail cell forever. You know, I'm just like, man, this is some crazy shit and everything. I was just like, man, that's crazy. It's just crazy because like he's just what having to deal with him scream while he eats his sausage and peppers. I'm like, what? This is crazy bones. And I mean, I'm curious to see what happens with Adam. Not like crazy curious, but I knew Adam would come back up because they mentioned him before and they keep mentioning him. They kept mentioning him. So it's like Adam has to show up at some point in time. And he does. He does. Poor Adam. I feel bad for Adam. But at the same time, I don't feel bad for Adam. But anyways, okay. So while all this is going on, a masked serial killer drains the blood from a victim. So we saw we saw Muse. This is Muse, and we know who the actor is and everything. It's that kid that showed up at the therapist book signing in episode 2. And he's like, I need help and everything. But he's got this guy and he puts him on a table and he's draining his blood. And I think that that's what he's using for paint materials, you know? And it'll be interesting to see where this goes because we saw the Muse's art. We saw the Kingpin one, and then we saw the white tiger with the tiger angel wings kind of thing, which was nice. But he's draining these people, and we saw his victims were hanging up by hooks. I was like, this is interesting in terms of like for the show. It's grotesque in terms of like, you know, life and stuff. But I am interested to see where Muse goes and comes from and all that stuff and everything. It's interesting that he drains his victims while they're alive, and everything. I was just like, man, I feel bad for that guy, but what are you gonna do? And so that was the end of the episode, you guys. Like I said before, this was a good episode. I do think I am glad I did hear that the episode 5 will be when he puts the mask back on, which is good because that's what we need in this show. Like I said, in my last episode, we didn't tune in. This isn't the memoirs of Matt Murdock. It's freaking Daredevil. We will need to see flippy flips, kicky kicks, and hallway fights. And so I just yeah, like I said, the episode was good. I can't wait for episode 5 and everything. Sorry it took so much of your time on this one. You know, but tell me what you guys thought about this episode. Did you love it? Did you not love it? Are you glad Frank's back and everything? Do you think he'll be in more episodes? You know, are you excited for his little Punisher project? And what do you think is going to go on with there? Tell me all your thoughts. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. You know, I won't mind. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you guys on my next Daredevil Born Again breakdown and review. You guys have a good week. Bye.